Welcome to our latest Wandering Walks of Wonder walking tour. Today we're headed to historic Bay City, Michigan. Along the way we'll learn a little bit more about Bay City itself, but our walk begins here in front of the Pere Marquette Railroad Depot. The Pere Marquette Railway, founded in 1863, initially operated between Flint and Saginaw, Michigan. Later, they expanded their route to Ludington and sought further extension into the Saginaw Valley. Concurrently, investors from Bay City formed the Bay City and East Saginaw Railroad Company to lay their own tracks. Recognizing the potential, Pere Marquette acquired the Bay City and East Saginaw line in 1867, with the first train arriving in Bay City on November 23rd of that same year. By 1899, the Pere Marquette had consolidated with other railways, becoming Michigan's largest. The depot that we see today was designed and constructed in 1904 by Saginaw architect William T. Cooper. Initially, the depot served both passenger and freight needs, but the depot itself remained active until around 1951 when it was abandoned. In 1953, the Greyhound Bus Company renovated the depot, but unfortunately, they had to vacate the building in 1969, and it took all the way until about 2007 for the building to be renovated. Originally known as Lower Saginaw, Bay City was part of Saginaw County until 1846, when the Hampton Post Office was established to serve the area. When Bay County was organized in 1857, Lower Saginaw was included within its boundaries and subsequently renamed Bay City in 1858. During the late 19th century, Bay City thrived as an industrial hub, home to enterprises like the Defoe Shipbuilding Company, which produced ships for the U.S. Navy as well as the Royal Australian Navy. That shipbuilding company actually lasted until 1975. The city also had such industries as lumbering, milling, as well as shipbuilding. Here we're walking past the old post office. Well, actually, it's still the current post office building and courthouse. This building was constructed in 1932 as part of the Works Progress Administration, or WPA, projects that Franklin Roosevelt put together during the times of the Great Depression to help ease some of the economic problems in cities across the nation. We're now heading along Washington Avenue, which is one of the main historic commercial districts in downtown Bay City. As mentioned, Bay City was established in the mid-1840s, and some of the first commercial businesses opened up around the early 1850s. The city's first brick building was erected in 1862, prompted by fire regulations introduced after a destructive blaze of the city in 1865. By the 1870s and 1860s, the city experienced rapid growth, and it exceeded 25,000 residents by 1884. Much of the commercial business did drift here to Washington Avenue during that time, and construction activity existed during World War I as well as beyond, including new infrastructure improvements as well as many of the new buildings. The State Theater that we see here on our right, it has a rich history that dates back to its origins as the Bijou Theater in 1908. Originally part of Colonel W.S. Butterfield's Bijou Circuit, which encompassed vaudeville theaters across Michigan, the theater was designed to host live acts and early motion pictures. It was a significant part of Bay City's entertainment scene during its early years. In the 1930s, the theater underwent a major transportation under the direction of architect C. Howard Crane, who adopted this striking Mayan revival style. This renovation included the installation of distinctive Mayan-themed marquee, interior decor, as well as the beautiful marquee that we see out here in front. Over the years, the theater underwent several name changes and ownership transitions, eventually becoming the State Theater. The theater itself has been renovated over times, and unfortunately, within the past month or so, word has come out that the theater is now closed after filing for bankruptcy. Another historic building in the downtown area is the Crapo Building, now called the Legacy Building. The Crapo Building itself was constructed in 1898 and is named after its owner, William W. Crapo, a prominent businessman and politician from Massachusetts who invested heavily in Bay City. It's a great example of Richardsonian Romanesque architecture characterized by its stone facade, round arches, as well as heavy masonry. Many commercial enterprises, as well as retail stores and office spaces and professional offices, were used in the building during the late 19th and 20th century, and it has since been remodeled into additional office space as well as living spaces. On our left is the Delta College Planetarium. This planetarium was established with the mission to promote astronomy education and science literacy in the region. It serves as a center for learning for astronomy, space sciences, as well as many other related fields. The planetarium features a large dome-shaped theater equipped with a state-of-the-art star projector. This projector accurately simulates the night sky, allowing visitors to experience celestial phenomena, constellations, planets, and other astronomical objects. There are a number of educational programs for school groups, families, as well as the general public inside this building. It's been a cornerstone of science education in the region since its opening. Ahead of us, we are now entering Wenonah Park. Wenonah Park was established in 1908 as part of a development effort that accompanied the construction of the adjacent Wenonah Hotel, which is now the Doubletree by Hilton. This park offers a great view of the riverfront. Both the hotel and park officially opened on November 9th, 1908. The park's full development included the construction of an auditorium that followed the hotel's inauguration. This ambitious project, which also included the hotel's construction, cost at the time about $300,000, or roughly $10 million in today's dollars. To our left is the Times building. This was once home to the Bay City Times newspaper and has now been renovated into lofts. The building itself was constructed in 1910. One of the most popular pop artists in our time is Madonna. She was born here in Bay City, Michigan. Although she was born here, she was actually raised in Rochester Hills, which is just outside Detroit, Michigan. The large building that we see on our right is the Shearer Building. This building was constructed in 1891 by prominent local businessman George W. Shearer. The building's design features intricate brickwork, arched windows, as well as ornamental details typical of a Romanesque-style building. It initially served as commercial and office space, catering to the growing business community here in Bay City, and it was a hub of commerce during the city's industrial boom. Today, much of the building has been renovated so it's back to either retail space or including new residential spaces as well in the building. This huge building we see here on our right is the Alice and Jack Work Public Library building. It was established through the efforts of Alice and Jack Work, who were prominent figures in Bay City. Their philanthropic contributions, as well as advocacy for education and literacy, led to the establishment of the library in their honor. We're now heading out of the downtown area and walking along Center Avenue, one of the most historic streets here in Bay City. Center Avenue presents some of the most spectacular displays of late 19th and early 20th century residential as well as commercial and historic buildings in Michigan. Between 1870 and 1940, Bay City's prominent citizens favored living on Center Avenue as, quote, the place to live. Early in this period, lumbermen built many lavish residences, some of which we'll see as we move along in this area. This building here on our right is the Bay City Scottish Rite Masonic Center. The building was constructed in 1926 and is attached to the Masons building, which we'll see towards the end of the walk. It has a very distinctive architectural style that reflects the principles and symbolism of Freemasonry. There are many Masonic elements, including classical motifs, symbolic emblems, and as well as just the symmetry of the building itself is a very important part of Freemasonry architecture styles. One of the historic homes, one of the first ones that we see is over here on our left, which is the George H. Shearer house. George Shearer, along with his wife Elva, lived in this house that was constructed around 1876. Initially, George worked as a laborer in his father James's lumber business, but eventually rose to management. The house is designed in the Second Empire style and is really quite beautiful. On our right is the old East Side Branch Library of Bay City. After operating in various locations since 1869, the East Side Branch Library finally found a permanent home thanks to the support of the Carnegie Corporation, along with local leaders such as William Clements, James Davidson, and Charles Well. The building since 2006 has been converted into commercial space, as most of the library activities have moved to the library that we saw here previously. Across the street, the large Gothic-style church that we see is the First Presbyterian Church. In 1848, James G. Birney and his wife initiated Bay City's earliest Presbyterian services in a schoolhouse building. Birney, an elder in the church, twice ran unsuccessfully for president on the anti-slavery ticket. The Reverend Lucius Root formally organized the First Baptist Church of Lower Saginaw in 1856. In 1886, Alexander Folsom, an elder of the church, donated $50,000 to establish a college in northern Michigan, leading to the founding of Alma College. In 1884, Reverend G. Ambrose White urged members of Presbyterian Church to build a church that will be a lasting gift to the future. That church that we see today was dedicated in 1893, and as the Bay City Times Press called it, it is a magnificent temple. To our right is the Charles Curtis home. This is a beautiful home that was constructed in the 1860s. The home has 23 rooms, 9 fireplaces, and a grand central staircase, and it's one of the most beautiful homes that you'll find here in Bay City. Across the street from the Curtis home is Trinity Church. Trinity Church traces its origins to a small group of settlers who were initially served by Episcopal missionaries starting around 1842. Church records attribute the founding of the church to William and Anne Fitzhugh. On March 4th, 1854, 14 individuals led by the Reverend Voltaire Spalding formally organized the parish in what was then known as Lower Saginaw, which later was renamed Bay City in 1857. By 1883, Trinity Church had grown significantly to about 175 people. Encouraged by a financial bequest from Elizabeth Burney and land donated from her daughter Florence, the congregation embarked on planning a new church. The present church that we see today was completed and opened on April 4th, 1887. The church is renowned for its vibrant stained glass windows, many dedicated to in the memory of parishioners. Notably, lumberman Thomas Grainage and his wife Julia donated the main facade's 3-panel window in honor of their daughter Sarah, who passed away from scarlet fever in 1875. Here right in front of us is the old Church of Christ Scientist building and church. It was constructed in 1912 and is designed in the neoclassical style. We're now looking at the Bay City Masonic Temple, which is sort of the backside of the Scottish Rites Temple that we saw earlier as we started walking along Center Avenue. In 1860, a group of Bay City businessmen petitioned to establish a Masonic lodge, which received its official charter the following year in 1861. Initially, meetings were held on the second floor of a commercial building in the downtown area, but had to relocate several times in the 1880s and 1890s. In 1890, the Masonic Temple construction began with the cornerstone laid in mid-1891, and the building was completed in 1893. It quickly became a hub of activity for Masonic activities, as well as the broader community itself. Our final building that we're seeing on our walk today, it's going to be straight ahead of us, is the Bay County Building. The Bay County itself was established in 1858, and its first courthouse was a modest wooden structure located at the foot of 4th Street. By 1867, the need for a larger courthouse was apparent, leading to the construction of a new courthouse at the same location in 1868. However, by the late 1920s, it became clear that this courthouse was inadequate for the growing needs of the county. In 1931, a judge approved construction of a new courthouse building, and the building was completed that we see in front of us, the tall building, in 1934. Since its completion, the Bay County Building has remained in use by county government, serving various administration functions as well as essential services to the community. I hope you've enjoyed this Wandering Walks of Wonder tour here in downtown Bay City, Michigan. If you're a resident of Bay City, leave a comment on some of the history I may have missed or some of the buildings that I should see on my next visit. Also, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wandering Walks of Wonder adventure. Take care now. Bye-bye.